Fortitude Valley has long been regarded as one of Brisbane's largest cultural hubs, housing over 50 different venues full of live bands, laughter and beats to get your heart racing. One weekend can see up to 100,000 people head to the numerous clubs, pubs and restaurants. Although proposed legislation could see a stop to this bustling late night culture. We're here today to discuss the potential lockout laws that could be coming to Brisbane. Will we be safer for it? Let's find out. Nick Peters is from Our Nightlife Queensland, an organisation campaigning against the proposed lockout legislation.
So what laws are the Labor government proposing?
It's pretty simplistic. It's essentially a 1am lockout and a 3am cessation of sales of liquor. So venues would still be allowed to stay open, but they wouldn't be able to sell any liquor at all.
How do you believe the proposed legislation will affect Brisbane nightlife?
There are over 16,000 people employed in our major entertainment precincts in Brisbane alone. We estimate it's worth about $435 million to the economy. So we're looking at probably about 1,700 job losses and a $50 million hit to that economic stimulus. So it's a fairly significant change, and it'll hurt small business most of all.
If the legislation is rejected, what do yourself and Our Nightlife Queensland plan to implement for a safer nightlife experience?
The former government's Safe Night Out strategy was a very detailed and well thought out strategy, so we've for a long time advocated for a continuation of that. What we'd like to see the government commit to, along with business, is changing the culture of how people go out and enjoy a night out, rather than focusing on locking people out or locking people up. We need to engage in education. We need to have a long-term vision and strategy about how we change how people attend precincts and how they approach their drinking before they attend licensed premises. We also need to see people that do the wrong thing, both in the general public and in business, penalised properly, so that either they're thrown out of our industry or those who engage in violence or antisocial behaviour pay a significant cost for that.
Despite the efforts of Our Nightlife Queensland, there are still instances where big nights out can fly out of control. Red Frogs, a volunteer organisation dedicated to educating and assisting young people in alcohol-related instances, have seen their fair share. We sat down with volunteer Keegan Nichols to discuss his experiences. How much has alcohol contributed to the dangerous situations within the Brisbane nightlife?
Personally, I've seen some serious harmful effects that alcohol can have on people. I've seen people who have gone from completely normal, sane kids looking to have a good time to somebody who's completely incapable of controlling their actions and emotions.
Do you believe that the lockout laws could harbour any of these dangerous situations from escalating or getting out of hand?
Yeah, I definitely think that it could make a difference, a real positive impact. It's work down in Sydney. They've seen a 40% reduction in non-domestic violence in King's Cross and George Street and the Rocks and all these places. I guess part of the problem, though, that often isn't talked about as much is the general drinking culture that Australia has and the real drinking problem that the young Australian has. Through education and through other programs, I believe that you could probably sort of curve the culture a bit more to become aware of the dangers of drinking and what excessive drinking can do to other people.
So where is the safe place? My home or the Met? How can I ensure that I have a good night and still come home in one piece? Is legislation the only answer? Only you can decide.